Hey guys, welcome back for another episode of Port Talk, and we're here with a good friend of mine, Brett Feemster, and I'm very excited to get him on board. Had to pull his arm a little bit to get here. Actually, he was very open to come on board, so we're happy to have you, my man.
Ben, I'm really happy to be here. This is really neat. I'm glad you're doing this, and I can tell it's going to be a lot of fun to do this. And
Yeah.
I know that I'm seeing a lot of people are listening, so hopefully I don't make a fool of
Some.
myself.
I don't know how many people yet, but I think there's a few out there. So I'm glad to have you on, man. I think that from the first time I met you, when you told me not only kind of about your past history, but really the company, especially a lot of our followers out there are real estate related, a lot of entrepreneurs, but that we'll really dig into you. But the fact of your, like, the background of your business, the uniqueness of your business was something that caught on to me because I've been in the business for over 15 and a half years and I had not seen anyone with a product like yours. So I think it was really cool to get you on here to kind of showcase that a little bit, but also just so everyone gets to understand who you are as a person, background on that. So I think we can tie in and let's just jump into it. So I would love if you kind of give me, just a little introduction, who you are, where you're from, and start there a little bit.
Sure. For those of people that don't know me, my name is Brett Feemster. I born and raised in Savannah.
Okay.
Went to Savannah Christian K through 12. Went to University of Georgia for college. Go Dogs. And then moved to Atlanta. And then my wife and I and our 3 kids moved back about 3 years ago. So I run a company called Multivista.
Okay.
So basically what we do is our service that we provide during construction of a project, we will go and photograph all your walls, slabs, ceilings, everything before it's covered up. And we link the photos directly to your design documents. So you've got a perfect history of how your house, your apartment building, city hall is built. So if you ever have any issues behind a wall, slab, or ceiling, you've got a perfect history of how the building is built. So a lot of times your architects have your as-built saying a water line's a certain here, where during construction, subcontractor didn't put it there, he put it behind that wall. So we have coined the term exact built, so you're able to see basically where everything is right before you cover it up.
Now, for your customers, and I'm going to dumb all this down a little bit too, because it seems pretty darn involved to some regard. But who, what, where, when? Is this just for custom builders? Is this for commercial jobs? Who is your ideal client for a lot of this product?
Sure. So for about 60% of our clients, the main benefactor of our services is the owner / developer / government entity. Another probably 30 to 35% is the general contractor, and the other 5 to 10% is the architect. So a lot of the government entities in the area, like the city of Savannah, will spec our services in on all of their capital projects that they do, where other GCs will just carry our number in the cost for building a project, and then other architects will just put our specifications into the bid for the project. So whenever the project goes to bid, the contractor has to carry our number in their budget.
Okay, so I'm going to break it down at a couple of different things, because I've got a lot of clients now with the lack of inventory out there. A lot of people are moving to the custom just building for their primary residence. Obviously, the building costs are through the roof right now, but when they do start, walk me through that process. So if myself, my wife and I, my family, we're looking to build a house, we would contact you. What is the reason? Right? So I've got an architect, we've got renderings, we've got drawings. What is the reasoning that myself, my wife and I would want to hire you in Multivista? What would be the reasoning on that specific, just on a custom new build?
Sure, for multiple reasons. I guess number one would kind of be a CYA tool.
Okay.
During construction, we're all humans. Things don't go as we had anticipated. Number two, unforeseen conditions. You want to go through that wall because you want to renovate a certain
after the fact, right? Okay.
After the house is finished and you want to go through that wall, well, your as-built, as I mentioned, said again, says nothing is in that wall, but is there really? So being able to give you that X-ray vision behind everything before it's covered up. And
instead of going, if I don't have a Multivista in your product on a custom build, what is a standard person going to do? Just go at it.
Correct.
Just rip the whole wall down.
Go through the wall. So
Yeah.
a lot of times we find that giving this visibility to a general contractor helps to reduce their unforeseen condition costs, because a lot of times, they didn't build something, so they can go through that wall, hit a water line, and that incurs a cost for them. So it helps us to reduce
Could
that
potentially be way more than what it was to charge you on the upfront.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And then also when you sell a lot of homes, when there's any sort of transaction that occurs, you're sitting down at the table, the buyer says, well, I wasn't really sure how this house was built. I'm a little concerned on the constructability issues that you may have. Well, with this, full disclosure, here's everything on the interior of the house before cover up. We also can shoot your slab on grade before you pour slab. Shoot your exterior skin. Maybe you have some sort of waterproofing issue. So you have everything right before cover up linked directly to the plans on where the location of where it was taken.
So even on potentially like a spec for an investor wanting to do this, you're saying this adds the way I look at it, a great way of adding marketability to a piece of property, because you were being able to have full disclosure, which I love that word, full disclosure of exactly how that house is built inside and out.
Correct. I would say attorneys love us.
Yep.
Because it helps to make their job so much easier. Here's everything, there's sometime during discovery or whatnot. But we work with a lot of multifamily developers. So, there's usually two plays. It's either build it, lease it up, hold.
And you mean from like apartment deals, bigger guys.
Right.
Okay.
And I was going to, I guess, relate it back to homes as well. But from an apartment standpoint, it's a great facility management tool for the life of the building. But then full disclosure, when they sell it to a third party, custom home.
I would think at a high level like that, a custom home, maybe you're a couple $100,000, million, $2 million, but you're talking an apartment deal that could be 40 to maybe a couple $100 million.
Correct. So, and I think for a custom home, it's really, not to sound salesy, but it really is a no-brainer. You're spending
the cost of it for an individual homeowner.
Correct.
Yeah.
So to go shoot all your in walls and ceilings on the interior of a house is anywhere between $400 to $550.
Wow.
And then if you wanted, obviously,
because that's what I'm thinking. Okay, so and I'm glad you got into the cost, because I think that's probably when people end up watching this, they're gonna be like, wow, this is a really cool product. And that was the first time I talked to you. I could not believe how affordable it is, and now to think that there's not a custom builder, a large national builder, or even just the investor that's doing spec that doesn't want to do this product. I think it's crazy to me.
Right. I think also the big thing too is it's third party. So if you have a general contractor that's possibly doing it themselves, you're really asking them to hold themselves accountable. For the most,
doesn't hold the same weight, I would imagine, if you really had to get into maybe potentially like a legal issue.
Correct.
Yeah.
So with this, it's third party, keeping everybody honest. We start on these big projects here in town, and the owner or general contractor has us come into the kickoff meeting before the job begins. The owner, the GC, says, we've hired Multivista to photograph everything you do before it's covered up. And all the subs kind of like, well, guess we can't screw this one up. So, but from just a pure visibility standpoint, it makes a ton of sense. And we have probably 7 or 8 custom home builders here in town that just have us on all their projects.
That's awesome. Now tell me this, I would want to know too, because I'm thinking of like the whole process, and we're talking about attorneys love you and things like that. Give me, if you're able to, potentially, obviously you've got clients involved, but if you're able to, I would love an example of like a true, real example, whether it was a homeowner, a big corporation that came to you and pretty much just gave you a big ass hug and was like, Brad, you just saved my ass because this just happened in your product. Like, has that ever happened?
Yes. Happens all the time. I can give you multiple examples. It probably would be best if I don't name the project.
There you go. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, if you're allowed to, I would love like an example.
Okay,
of
so
something.
I'll give you a couple. So number one, there was a government project we did probably 7 or 8 years. It was a very small project. It was just a renovation, about 3,000 square feet. And a lot of expensive equipment was being installed in this project. And about halfway through construction, there was a pipe that busted, and the equipment had just been installed, and it ruined about $1 million worth of equipment.
Oh my God.
On the project. Of course, the contractor says, oh, we didn't install the pipe, it was already there. Well, going back and using our photographs, because we also do progressions on a monthly basis, well, just from a status standpoint of what's going on with the job, they were able to go back and use our photographs to show that the contractor did install the pipe, and they ended up having to pay the claim. So since that time, this
Wow.
government entity has had us on all their projects moving forward. You know, and on a 3,000
Incredible.
square foot project, I think the cost of our services total was probably, you know, $2,200.
Saved them $1 million.
Yeah, so the ROI on that was
Pretty damn good.
was pretty sporty. Yeah.
Wow.
And then we have another another government project here in town.